Crash Course Live is presented by
Smash It Demolition Derby, who host Bash for Cash, Blizzard Bash, and Capital City Carnage. Online at smashitderby.com. And Stirring Dirt Racing, hosts of Maymania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah. Online at stirringdirtracing.com.
Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel and Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now your host, Chris Marquardt.
Good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to this episode of the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast. Episode number 218 on deck. We had a line that wouldn't unmute and the button was sticking, so who knows what was going on inside the studio before we got here. But in any case, the line is opened, so everybody will be able to hear Brian through the course of the episode. Brian is here, as we just alluded to. Excited to have Eddie Chick along for the episode. Danny Ogden, I got a message from Kurt Brinkman. His schedule has opened up, so at the bottom of the hour, we will be catching up with him. Saw some fun information online. George Highnote is expecting a baby girl. So congratulations to him. It's Facebook official, so I assume that it's safe to bring this topic up. Happy birthday to Katie Marie, Josh's lovely girlfriend, last week. And then Brian's mom has right now all points suggesting she's going to get home tomorrow.
Tomorrow is what I heard today. I called earlier and she was doing a breathing treatment, so I'm going to call again after this. And last week was a pretty tough week. I really would have rather been here. Wouldn't wish that on anybody. That was tough, but a little help from God, a little help from a great staff and a great surgeon. My mom's got a second chance, and I made a post, and it was a heartfelt post on Facebook. Hopefully, some people take it to heart and do what they can to help themselves out.
Got to get off the ciggies.
They do. They do.
So we, without further ado, we've got Eddie Chick joining us here right now. Eddie on the line. Eddie, man, how are you?
Oh, not too bad. We finally got some pretty weather around here.
What's pretty weather for this time of year?
Well, sunshine for one. It's been raining and stuff pretty much all week. It rained off and on last week, and this week's looking pretty good so far.
So that means that by the end of the week, you'll be able to start on the Capital City Carnage car.
Well, I'm bringing my Blizzard Bash car.
That'll work out just fine, right?
I hope so. I still got a lot of confidence in it.
That Eddie picked up a win in the 80s class back in Topeka. We were there for Blizzard Bash, and you showed all them young kids how it was done.
Yeah, I tried. That's my first luck out there. I've been running out there for 4 or 5 years, and that's the first time I've won anything. So it made me feel pretty good.
Winning always feels good, especially someplace like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and there were some good drivers out there with me as well. Give them props. They're all awesome drivers.
Definitely a lot of competition out there.
We're going to ask this question a couple times through the course of the episode to the drivers that we catch up with tonight. But building off of that and finally breaking through with a little bit of good luck in Topeka, is momentum in Demolition Derby a real thing? Does that play into building confidence and giving you new faith in what you can do, even though you've been doing it for so long, going into Capital City Carnage here in just about 2 weeks?
Yes, I think it does. When you haven't won anything for a couple of years, but maybe some seconds or some county fair stuff, and you go out there and win a big deal like that, so it brings you back up from down where you're at. You're thinking you're not going to win anymore, and it comes back around.
The full circle thing, you'd had success outside of Topeka. It was just the Gremlins wouldn't leave you alone when you got into the Landon Arena at the Kansas Expo Center. So, I mean, what's that do to you mentally as well? You can win every place but there.
I don't know. The county fairs are just a lot different, and our builds have went back to stock pretty much. If I have a mod car built, I don't necessarily get to run any of their shows, and that kind of makes it hard. I have bought a stock setup, and I'm going to start using it a little bit this year.
Eddie, which build do you prefer? I mean, you've been doing this for a couple of years now, and you've kind of seen the tides sway, from the lighter built stuff to the heavier built stuff. I mean, as a Derby guy that's been around, what do you prefer?
Well, I like them both, actually. A lot of the guys prefer to kind of turn it back a little bit the older they get, and maybe I should too, but just kind of a stubborn guy,
Yeah, it's
I honestly, I've tried to stick with the mods.
Yeah.
That's a surprising answer. A little bit, kind of what you said. The longer we go, even Brian's brought this up himself, that you get so far along to the point where, you know what, I don't want to spend that much time building a car, and I don't want to take hits that make my teeth rattle.
Yeah, it does make your teeth rattle. I'm liable to get my teeth rattled in a couple of weeks, so we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Do you feel like you're going with additional attention on you now that you have the success at Blizzard Bash?
Yeah, I hope that luck follows me.
Well, I don't think anybody wouldn't wish that. Coming off of a win on a big stage like Blizzard Bash, you want the luck to stay with you. In terms of putting that car back together, what did you have to do to get that car back in one piece?
There really wasn't that much torque on it. I had a flat tire, and I put some repair plates on it and bent the back end on up a little bit. Other than that, I did some knickknacks to it. Nothing major. It's pretty much ready.
That's cool.
Modified class that we're going to be going up against here. Kyle Brown, Devin Bolio, Dustin Peck, Kurt Brinkman, Dylan Kunkel, Cole Markley, Jerry Lyerly, Eric Floyd, Jake Hawk, Brad Tice, Chad Markley, Matt Tice, Tori Hyde, and Mike Schmidt, all scheduled to go in the mod class out there.
Daniel Orton had entered one.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, there's some good names on there, so hopefully we all have a good run.
Well, it's going to. If everybody brings the cars from Blizzard Bash last year, it's going to look like a Blizzard Bash feature. I mean, think about.
Yeah, I think so.
Last year, I mean, the mod heat at Capital City Carnage was insane. I mean, there was some great still pictures taken. Danielle had somebody pinned up on a wall, tipped over. Matt Tice, who ended up getting heavy hitter, I believe, or finished second. I can't remember what it was.
Second Mad Dog, I believe.
And he was laying some shots. I mean, that was probably the hardest hitting heat overall of the weekend. Those guys definitely, they said going. It was just like we were at Blizzard bashing, and it was.
I like the fact that nobody's lamenting the turnout for this, because kind of as we alluded to, people are on to other builds and cars were torn up or whatever. So we're looking at a shorter field.
Yeah,
I like it though because there's so much more room.
At the first, there wasn't hardly no cars on there, and it kind of makes it a little nicer when there's more. You got more debris to go around.
Yep.
Right.
so to speak. You know what I'm saying? There's more. You can maneuver around the traffic there.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, when it's thinned out, like Jerry Lyerly with Crazy Iowans last year, he was a force to be reckoned with.
Coming.
Yep, Matt Tice, Brad Tice, they're bringing cars back. I assume that they're going to be the same Cadillacs that they ran before that are still, very, very, very healthy cars with fix-it plates.
Yeah, I think Tommy Stark's going to be a late entry as well.
Yeah, I thought I read that somewhere that he was entering.
Yeah, so he should do pretty well as well, also.
I think that may be the only class that has any spots left open, and I think that maxes out at 20 or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah. It's pretty close. Yeah, you're pretty close on that.
I know.
And all those classes built up really well. The 2-man thing, that's going to be kind of wild to watch.
Yeah, 2 heats of it.
When are you and Rob going to do that?
I don't know. We'd have to get in an argument of who's going to steer and who's hitting the gas.
Yep, that's
I'd be floorboarding it, and he'd be trying to hold on. And they're going to have that class of theirs is wow. That's going to be really good too.
Yeah, it's going to be Josh. Now, Josh wanted me to ask you a couple questions. I got them written down here.
Yeah. He called me old fart start this time, I guess.
No, actually, he didn't. He pointed out that you haven't been driving as long as Rob, that Rob's got more seat time, but he wondered what the difference was between you and Rob, because you drive harder than Rob does.
Honestly, I don't know. He started a couple of years before I did. I think he was more 17 or 18, and I was closer to 20 years old when I started. So
just to clarify, that was
maybe
years old.
18 or 19 for me, and 17 or so for him. I'm a little bit older than he is as well. So
it's not 1919, 1917. It's years old.
Well, I even drove a Duster back in the 80s.
Wow.
It was pretty wild. Yeah.
How'd that go?
So it was a chain and bolt, you know. You chained everything. There wasn't much welding, move your tank and stuff, and that's how you drove it. I also drove a 64 Chevelle with a six-banger in it.
That's awesome.
So that was, and you know, back then we were young guys, so we liked the big tires on the back, the tall ones.
Yep.
Right.
So that was pretty neat to get to look back on that kind of stuff.
How'd that Chevelle do?
I think it did all right. I didn't win no money with it or nothing. I'll put it to you that way. I think I lost the radiator, and that six-bagger wouldn't pull it around too well when it got hot.
It's interesting. The other question that Josh wanted me to ask you, again, this is directly from Josh Decker. If there's any issues with these questions, contact Josh Decker.
You'll see
I have to contact him, right?
Yes, take it directly up with him. If it's coming down to one other driver that's on the track that you know that you have to go head-to-head with for a win, would you rather it be Trey or would you rather it be Rob?
You know, I've took Trey head on a bunch. And Rob, so I don't know. It'd be a toss-up, I guess.
Toss-up?
Trey, I don't know if Trey's a little more aggressive than Rob. I couldn't answer that. But they're both tough.
Again,
you get them both on the track, and then me, and we're all bad boys, so that's...
Right.
They're all kind of like, wow, them guys are really getting after each other, but it is fun getting on the track with them. I love them to death.
That actually brings me to the next question that I sort of had in line for you, was after you've done this for so long, and I imagine that at different intervals you've gone through dry spells or people have been out to get you, so the cars get ruined early in the course of it. Is Demolition Derby at this point still fun? I mean, with all the heavy builds and all the evolutions of the sport and everything, is it still fun for you?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I get tired of messing with them sometimes, and then it's months before I touch one. But it brings back the fun when you go win a show like Blizzard Bash.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not being a brag guy or nothing, because I don't like to brag around about it. But for me, having that dry spell and then going out there and picking up that win, that was just great for me. I was really pleased with the build as it was going, and it worked out for me.
So in terms of that question, is it still fun? If I had asked you that question November 1st, 2017, instead of here in February 2018, what would your answer have been then? Same thing?
I would have said that I think it is.
Yeah.
Even though if you go out there and you give it your all and you don't win, you still got people telling you that you had a good run.
Yeah.
And shaking your hand, and you didn't win, but everybody's still giving you props. So I think that makes it fun as well.
Yeah,
to get to hear people, they still like the way you drive.
Yeah, that's
a good answer.
Well, we all love how you drive. I mean,
that's
yeah.
That was the thing.
No, I think I would have told you the same thing. It is still fun for me.
You know, that's the thing. You know, like Rob or Eddie does. You know, he definitely uses the gas pedal a lot. You know, and it's cool when people tell you after a show, even if you don't win, hey, great hit or great show or great. I mean, that feels really good. You know, it makes it worth it.
Honestly, I think Rob is a little more conservative than me and Trey.
I'm watching.
You say that, I had to. Yeah.
I'm watching Facebook. It's not lighting up yet, so apparently we haven't done anything wrong.
I haven't said anything wrong yet. No, I don't think. I'm hoping I'm answering. I'm not used to doing this kind of stuff, so I think I'm doing pretty well, I guess.
I think
you're doing just fine.
You're doing fine. I wouldn't worry about it at all.
No.
I'm glad to hear your mom's doing better.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes, I watched you guys last week, and you know, your moms, they mean a lot to you because they raised you.
Yeah.
You know, so you don't want nothing to happen. My dad's 71, and honestly, he hates derbies. He would love to junk all the stuff I have around here.
That's funny.
I'm not going to let him. So
yeah, my dad, my parents were definitely more into racing, but you know, like great parents, they both support me, and you know, I'm definitely a mama's boy. I mean, I can't deny it. I'm absolutely 100% a mama's boy, and it really affected me. But you know, every day she's gotten stronger, and it's good. And you know, God willing, knock on wood,
yes,
you know, everything's going to turn out fine, and she'll be home tomorrow. So, but I really appreciate it, Eddie. That's great to hear, man. I thank you.
I'm glad she's doing better. You know, just like the little ones. I don't like to see anything happen to them either. The little guys, that's got to be rough on them when they go through stuff like that.
Yeah, no kidding.
At 36, I had open heart surgery. And it was a mitral valve problem, and I had a hole in my atrium.
Yep.
So I was pretty fortunate that I can still drive demolition derby cars.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
I was afraid they was going to tell me I couldn't drive it. Had I had a new valve, I would have had to quit.
Yeah.
And we were still running pretty much semi-stock cars at that point. Yeah. Rob, you know, R&R shows, we were running some of them, and Regina Markley shows, and they were all kind of a lighter build at that point. No cradles, none of that stuff. You took your car, and you drove it, and it was really fun back then as well.
Yeah. Yeah, shows like that are definitely cool.
I'm just hope everybody has a good run in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, absolutely.
I got some pictures from Tegan's mom, Cora K.
Oh, cool.
He was doing homework and everything, and he was doing all right, which was good.
She sent me some bunch of stickers for the caddy guys and Rob and them, and
cool.
So I'm going to give all them stickers.
That's awesome.
So that's going to be nice. We can all have his stickers on our car. And
you know the stickers.
Yeah.
I use his deal as a profile.
Yep.
Facebook deal, so that's kind of neat.
We'll have to get the
it's
cameras.
It's kind of rough seeing him when he's sick like that.
We'll have to get the cameras to make sure they get some good shots of those, because I'm sure they'll be watching at home.
Oh, I'm sure.
So we'll have to make sure we get some good shots of Tegan stickers on the car.
That or they had a garage sale of derby shirts. They could go.
Well, he did get a lot of those. I think we gave up some too. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
I'm impressed by the forethought of the demolition derby community, giving him sizes of medium, large, extra large. So he's good through his senior year of high school. At this point, he should never have to go school shopping again.
Yeah, he's good.
Did you see the picture he wearing all hats?
The community is really great, and I have quite a big derby family myself. They're all just great. They keep me going, I think, sometimes.
We're talking about more than just the Bad Boys crew?
Yeah, the crew that sits at 117, and then, you know, family members and things like that. You know, it's just my wife and son, they put up with a lot, because I spend a lot of time in the shop, and so I'm pretty pleased that they let me do what I do.
Yeah, it's when we.
It's not the first time we've heard that story.
Yeah, 2 years ago we got moved over to the opposite side of the arena, so now we can watch 117 right up close, and that's definitely an entertaining section right there. They really enjoy their derbying out there.
We didn't appreciate
our placement. I remember when you guys were on the other side.
Yep.
Right.
And then you all move back over to the 117 area?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
A little ways down, yeah. I come over and waved at you guys last year from the back. So
our first year there, we were on that side. We didn't appreciate the proximity to 117. we got put in.
yeah, they're a little crazy sometimes. So and you know, Blizzard Bass has changed a lot since 2012. I went out and ran with Booger and Mike Worth. and we got our butts kicked, but it was fun. But if you look at the stands back in 12 and then you look at them in 2017, you got a packed house.
Yeah.
Where the stands didn't have as much.
Top to bottom.
It's our favorite part.
I think Saturday night's their best night anyway.
Yeah,
it is. I mean, it's no question. It is. You can just look at the number of empty seats.
Yeah, this year they even put down the extra set of stands where you walk out to the
right over there by us.
Right.
They had them down as well. People were sitting.
That's the first time I've ever seen that.
Yeah, I don't remember that happening before.
Yeah, I don't remember them ever putting it down before.
So that's awesome. That's a bunch more people that are able to join us.
You're talking about Blizzard Bash and all the people that are there now versus back then. You're talking about, your family supporting you, and you're talking about your dad, how he wants to crush everything that you got laying around.
Yeah, he's always wanted to do that. I watched him junk wagons, Cadillacs, Impalas. In the mid-'80s, they were breaking down, and he was hauling them in. He sold them for $35 a ton. I said, see, Dad, look at all that money you would have made if we'd still had them cars around here. But they would have been rotten by then,
Yeah.
I was in my 20s, and that's kind of how he fed us when we were young. He run his own business with a backhoe, and he salvaged cars. So that's how we ate. So I give him props for always taking care of us.
Absolutely.
I have a younger sister as well.
Cool.
All that considered, we asked about if it was even still fun, and we said yes, dry spell notwithstanding and wind notwithstanding. Yeah. Did you ever envision being where you are right now? I mean, when you guys were destroying 64 Chevelles with 6-cylinder engines in it, did you ever imagine that you'd be traveling the way that you are and being recognized the way that you are?
No, I didn't, because for years we didn't hardly get away from like an hour away from the house here. Mm-hmm. And then, C.J. Barnes took us to Blizzard Bash in like 2010. So it was Blizzard Bash. It was cold, snowing, and that wasn't very much fun. It was fun, but it was cold. So,
right.
No, I didn't imagine me having a ski cradle or any of that hardware, because, I've had broken blocks, and everybody has.
Oh, yeah.
And after I broke a couple of blocks, I bought that ski here in 15 is when I bought it. So it's been a real good piece. It's saved a couple of motors already, so... That's kind of nice. The motors cost a lot to rebuild, so... And I don't run a big motor. My motor only puts out about 400 horse, maybe.
That's all. That's
good.
So,
good.
I've always tried to stick with a motor that I will blow up for $1,000.
Yep, sure.
If I spend a couple of grand on it, I'll tear it up for $1,000.
Absolutely.
Brian's motor makes 100.
Them off. If you think you're going to win, I'm going to keep going.
Brian's motor makes 185 horsepower and was freshened in 1991.
Awesome. If it gets the job done, I think that's all you need.
Actually, it's got about 170,000 on it. It came from Brett got it from somewhere. The only thing I did was I don't even think I put an intake on it. It was ready. I just had to put a carburetor and a distributor on it, I think.
Right. You're right. Yep.
He didn't have to do anything to it this year because he never got the RPM over 2,000. He could still put the headlights back in the car when he was done.
No, taillights. Headlights are definitely junk.
Yeah, those are good ones because you can keep running it for a while.
Oh. No, she's junk. My kid keeps saying, but Dad, the back end's straight. And I said, Bud, the front end's 4 foot in the air. There's nothing we can do.
Yeah, we've re-stubbed cars, and that's a chore in itself.
Absolutely.
If it's got a good back end from the firewall back, I'll usually stub it if I can. It's just a lot of work, so you got to try to get as many runs out of one as possible.
I'm going to cut the motor and tranny out of it, take the rear end out, and it's going to make Toyotas or Mazdas or beer cans or something. It's gone.
You're right, because sometimes you got to say, okay, enough's enough. I'm going to move on.
Yep, I got a fresh 75 2-door sitting there, and I'm going to be getting a fresh Suicide. So I got enough. That's two fresh cars. I haven't had that.
I had a nasty one a couple of years ago. I won $4,000 or $5,000 with it, and it never moved.
Yeah.
It was a mod car. It was kickers. It was pretty hard.
Yeah, my car's not going to be like that. They'll both be junk.
You can still have fun with those things because they'll destroy some stuff head on.
Oh yeah.
If you keep the bumper on it, it's golden.
Yeah, my bumper won't fall off. Ben's going to weld it on.
Right. Well, I did a bunch of research when I finished that car. I got it from my brother, and I did a bunch of research on the old Wheat Crash.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned a lot of things, and my bumper stayed on, so I was pretty good. I had one broken ball joint.
Yeah, everybody says that the noses of them are tough, so I'm gonna find out because I can usually junk stuff that's tough. So
they're pretty good, even to stock rules.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna run. I mean, that's all I run is stock stuff. It's just I don't.
Right. Yeah. A lot. Like I say, a lot of our shows around here, our shows are stock or Jeremy Baker shows.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And them guys they're coming out of the woodwork and building cars, and he's got a decent tech, and everybody trusts him, so he's got a good thing going for him.
That's cool.
Yes, I'm proud of him for having a good tech, and he just keeps it clean.
That always helps keep a show going. Everybody's
Yes.
Everybody talks about the money, but it's always good when you show up and you know that it's going to be a fair night, and one guy isn't getting something over.
Yeah, well, see, Rob and I, we've always had we want to build our cars as close to the rules and still do a good car.
Yep.
So we don't have to cut on it all day when we get there.
Exactly.
Yeah, you need to overdo some things, but we've always that's what we've had for a motto. We didn't want to have to cut on them for hours to get them to go through tech.
Yep. Well, that's the thing. I mean, we've touched on it before. I mean, you go to the big shows, like you go to a Bash for Cash or a Blizzard Bash, and you have to build to that extreme in the mod class in order to compete. You know, and that's
you're
just
exactly right.
Like I said 100 times, I love watching it, but I wouldn't want to build it. So I stick with my stock stuff.
It's a lot of welding wire, trust me.
Oh yeah.
And hours in the shop.
Yeah, no kidding.
My Blizzard Bash car was a 82 Lincoln with an 09 frame under it.
Yeah.
So you have to weld the cradle. So it's just a lot of welding.
Oh yeah,
I built a whole new cage. I didn't like the old cage I was running, so I built a whole new cage. Me and a buddy built all that, and we were pretty pleased with that car when we got done with it.
Absolutely, it was a good car.
I got Rob and them. They come down and give me a hand, and they're not too far. They're with about 10 miles from where I live, so we're all pretty close.
That's cool.
So that's kind of neat that we can help each other.
Absolutely,
it's awesome. You mentioned your brother, you mentioned your sister, your dad, the family, the Caddy Nation crew, the Bad Boys crew. We're getting to the halfway point. We got to make sure that we can catch up with Danny Ogden. I could talk with you for the whole hour. Is there anybody that you wanted to make mention of that helped make sure that the car gets out there for Capital City?
All my friends that helped me with it, Kyle Hall and Rob and Trey's helped a lot, and I got them guys, and there's a lot to mention that helped me through the way.
Sure.
You always got to appreciate your buddies. I don't have the buddies I used to have, but I got better ones.
That's awesome.
So Rob and I are lifelong friends.
Mm-hmm.
Can't beat that.
I worked for his mother, and so we've always known each other. And Kelly, we've always been great friends, and I like to keep it that way.
Absolutely.
I hope I answered Josh's questions good enough.
Yeah.
He hasn't messaged me anything to say that he had other questions, so I believe that he must be content, and I guess Rob isn't too upset, so we're in good shape.
No, I don't think he is. Yeah, I like Josh. I like picking at him a little bit,
He's got thin skin. It's easy.
You guys do an awesome job. I just, you sit up there and you know everybody, and I forget everybody's names sometimes, and it's just great that you guys can do that stuff for everybody.
Thanks, we appreciate it.
Eddie, we appreciate that a ton, and it's always good having you on. I look forward to doing a couple of weeks. We'll have you back on, and we'll talk about your win at Blizzard Bash.
Yeah.
or Capital City Carnage.
I'll come and see you guys.
All right, sounds good to me. Stop up.
All right, thanks for having me on. You guys, I hope your mom's doing good now.
Thank you. Appreciate it, eh?
Yes. I hope she's immaculate when she gets out of there.
Thank you. I appreciate it, buddy.
All right, you guys take care, and thanks for having me on again.
Thanks, Eddie.
All right, bye-bye.
We'll see you. There goes Eddie Chick. Awesome dude. Good for the sport.
Really cool, dude.
And I messed up. I said after his win at Blizzard Bash, but hopefully we'll have him on in a couple weeks. We'll talk about his win after Capital City Carnage. We all know what we were talking about because that's what this whole show is going to basically be focused on is Capital City Carnage right there. March the 15th is Heat Draw, 7 and 10 o'clock. We're going to be online in some way, shape, or form. We're still talking about how it's all going to shake out for the Heat Draws show. It looks like we're going to be able to push through all of the channels at one time, which would be awesome. Because, I mean, talk about some blanket coverage. We'd be able to be on Derby Nation, Finger Lakes 1, all that. It'd be all over the place. So we're still trying to make sure that that's going to work out the right way. We do get to travel light, though. It'd be the first time we've gone to Topeka without having to carry tripods. It'd be kind of sweet.
Not only that, we shouldn't carry anything. We'll throw it in Ben's truck, and him and Josh can carry it out, and you and I just walk on like superstars. We can see what it's like to feel like Josh Decker.
It's a great point. We'll table this for executive session after we're done. March 16th are the Heats, the Limited World Heats 1 through 10. There's going to be 10 cars in each of the top two advances. It's going to give us our first 20 cars in the main event, 7 o'clock start time. March the 17th is part of the doubleheader. 10 o'clock is the Limited World Constellations. There's 5 scheduled there. They're going to take 2 each. That's going to give us our final 10. So 30 cars planned to take the track for the feature. The compact feature also on deck for that early session, 2,500 to win there. 7 o'clock, there are 4 main events that are on the card. The 2 extreme 2-man features, paying 2,500 to win each. The modified feature that Eddie Chick is going to be in, we just talked to him, and then the Limited World Finals, paying $10,000, $5,000 Mad Dog Award. For additional information, jump online, capitalcitycarnage.com. The Fantasy League link is in the comments below the show post. So if you're looking at it on Facebook, just scroll down. You can see. I didn't look actually today. We were juggling a bunch of other stuff, and I forgot to look going in. Now that we're into the break, I don't dare forget where I am. Chaos in the Valley is coming up after that. That's our next big focus. After we get wrapped up in Topeka at the Capital City Carnage, we're going to go to Chaos in the Valley, the spring show, April the 21st at the Shenandoah County Fairgrounds in Woodstock. Showtime's 5 o'clock. Weld stock and compact classes, each paying a minimum of $2,000 out. These shows dominate the Shenandoah Valley. They basically bookend the season. It is a huge show in the beginning. Candace just messaged me. Thank you, Candace. The mod show is going to be in the morning also to make room for the 2-man extreme classes that were added later in the day. Thank you, Candace. I got your note. So, again, that's going to be adjusted, the mod class, moving to the morning session on the doubleheader. Back to Chaos in the Valley. The fall date, which is even bigger than that, Saturday, October the 20th is the fall date for Chaos in the Valley. Again, Shenandoah County Fairgrounds, showtime's 5 o'clock. Huge build. I mean, they're Bash for Cash cars on steroids, which is how they call stock down there. It's unbelievable. Such a fun show to go to. Monster payouts as well. This all goes to benefit Townsbrook Volunteer Fire Department on Facebook.com/Chaos in the Valley. So that one is in April. From there, we're going to go to May. And there's the info on May. 2-man team show. It's basically full at this point for May Mania. It's going to be at Spirit of 46 Arena at Salt Lake City Park. It's the home of the Utah State Fair. Stern Dirt Racing hosting May Mania, the 2-man team show, May 18th and 19th. After that, the next big thing for Stern Dirt Racing, online sterndirtracing.com, is the Wasatch Wipeout. That is returning to Heber City, Utah. It's on the schedule for the 27th and 28th of July. Dig this, $90,000 in prize money. $25,000 for first place. First through last in the feature gets $1,000. $5,000 Mad Dog Award. Farm trucks, front wheel drives, passengers, $4,500 each of those divisions in payout. So not too bad of a payday there. And then after we get back from May Mania, we'll have to turn our attention to Bash for Cash. The Near It Big Rock $11,000 kicker class is going to be open to new and old iron this year, and that is basically filled up at this point. They're pretty well set on that field. There's a new old iron bonus on deck, extra $3,000 on the line. If it can be won by an old iron, the highest finishing old iron gets an extra $1,500 if the event is won by a metric, so that's pretty cool. The Turn Back the Clock class, presented by Derby Tees, same thing, but the reversal, the metric bonus, if it's won by a metric car, they get a $3,000 bonus, or the highest placing metric will get $1,500 if it's won by an old iron. $10,000 to win DEC Headers Compact class. On deck as well, Frank the Tank Old School Wire class, which is always the show of the weekend. Full-size trucks, youth compacts, compacts trucks. They still have openings, $75 to enter. 80s wire class and street stocks are full. So we're going to come back from Ohio. You'll be happy to know Sirius has turned back on in the van. I got it turned on so we can listen to hair metal the whole way out to Ohio and back. June the 2nd, Road Rage Entertainment is going to be taking over the early spring show at the Broome County Fairgrounds in Whitney Point. Everything basically at this point is sold out. Compact teams, truck teams. There might be an errant V8 spot left if you really beg, borrow, and steal to get it. But the team brackets completely jacked at this point. It's full up, and then they've got the one and dones as well for full size V8 junk runner compacts. It's $1,000 to win guaranteed in each of those one and dones. JMW Motorsports with Ed Brewster, he's coming up to do an RC Derby that day. The Kids Zone, there's going to be Power Wheels. All the kids that enter for the Power Wheels are getting a helmet. It's going to have decals on the helmet that go along with the show. There's the Kids Zone with a play area. They can go do coloring contests. They can play games and stuff. There's responsible adults, which are obviously not Demolition Derby drivers. They're going to be there to watch the kids. If they get bored that way, you still get to see the whole show. Awesome setup up there. You can jump online and find out more about Road Rage Entertainment. Facebook.com/Road Rage Enter. Jason Sherman ran out of characters on that one, so it's Road Rage Enter. You can find out more about it on Facebook. And rounding this out, which would be basically 2 weeks after the Road Rage show, June 16th, is the Spinning Wheels Productions Mini Meltdown, presented by Jeffy's Fab Farm. It's the Otsego County Fairgrounds in Morris, New York. 4,000 win compacts, 4,000, 2,000, 1,000 the top three. The field's full. That's it. Nobody else can get in. If you want to watch it, you got to go to the stands. You got to go in the pits, but you can't be running a car. $4,000 to win, and then that giant $7,000, $8,000 purse for it when you factor in the $1,000 Mad Dog. The one and done classes are $500 to win plus 75% of the entries. Economy V8, limited well V8, full size trucks, compact trucks. More information about it online. SpinningWheelsProductions.com. They were working on some of their not-for-profit stuff today for San Filippo. They've been busy making sure that all of their stuff is in line because San Filippo is shaping up to be huge this year as well. And we thought it was big last year, so I anticipate it being absolutely gigantic. So I'm going to turn this into the very able hands of Brian for a moment while we get Danny Ogden on the phone. Again, Candace, I got your update there. Again, the two-man extreme classes and the limited world feature is part of the evening program at Capital City Carnage. The mod cars moved up to the morning session.
With the mini meltdown, I actually talked to Jeremy last week. There is spots open in the other classes other than the compacts. Come on out, Father's Day weekend. I mean, what better excuse to get out of the house and wreck some cars? So come on out and join us down there. I've already entered. I'm going to be running a whatever the stock class is called, V8 stock, I guess. Going to be taking a car down there, so hopefully get some guys from around the area and bump into each other.
Guy on the phone right now made a name for himself over the summer running compact cars out in Utah. Mm-hmm. And now Danny Ogden is going to be coming all the way over the Rockies to come and take part at Capital City Carnage, which I think is awesome, Danny. We got a couple photos in the comments underneath the show post where Danny went across the track and backed into the passenger doors, just about flipped himself, just about flipped the guy that he was running into. Danny drives like a shark. His eyes roll in the back of his head. He just goes and hits whatever's in front of him. So he's going to fit in perfect in Topeka.
Oh, absolutely.
Danny, how are you?
Good, I'm great, and thanks for the call. Invite.
Yeah, man, for sure. You excited about Capital City Carnage or what?
I am. I'm excited. It's kind of fun. It's going to be a different show to go play with. The great drivers that are there, it's going to be fun to play with.
Well, you're going to be around some new people. You're probably going to go out there and you're going to make a bunch of friends early in the weekend, and then a bunch of enemies towards the end of the weekend. Just with your driving style, you've watched the videos and done the research and got prepared for the atmosphere. It's a different size track, a different type arena compared to what you're used to in Utah. How do you think you're going to acclimate?
I'm just going to play it by ear, like just how it goes, how it feels, my big goal is to make the main event. That's where I want to make. That's my goal. You know, you hear a lot of guys from Utah go out back there. Oh, we're going to junk our cars in the first heat. Oh, you can't do that. I want to do good. You know, We'll see. If I junk my car, I junk my car. We'll go have fun.
The problem is after the first couple hits, how do we know that you're not going to junk your car?
It'll probably just get junked. That's my driving style.
You know, to come that far, to be a Topeka rookie, to be a Topeka rookie, what would it mean to you to make that feature? I mean, you got 100 cars that are entered. There's only going to be 30 of them that are on the track for that main event, and if you play your cards right, you could be walking out of there with some Mad Dog honors.
Yeah, you know, that's kind of where my kind of goals have been, is set it up as Mad Dog. I don't think I got the drivetrain to last a 2-hour feature. I mean, but who knows? My drivetrain runs pretty good, so I'm hoping it'll last. You know, but like I say, my main goal is try to make the main event and go from there.
In terms of the build style and what you're getting yourself into with a limited weld type car, where are you right now in your progress, and how's it compare to what you're used to in Utah?
They're not very far off. I'm about 75% done.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be probably 90% done by the end of the weekend and ready to go by the next week. So, I mean, there are a little bit of rules, like some of the 9-wire stuff I'm not used to.
Right.
You know, pretty much almost the same basic limited weld rules. I mean, we get 18 inches of bumper shot versus 14. You know, kind of that stuff. On DP protectors, we don't get them, so it'll be interesting to see how my car fares compared to everybody else's.
Have you gone through and bought a lot of that extra stuff just for this one run, or is this something that you're going to plan on trying to use on a more regular basis?
I've borrowed a distributor protector. I mean, it one of the bolts to the head. It's not a ski cradle or anything.
Okay.
You know, I have a lower cradle, a bell housing, that kind of stuff already. So I haven't really spent that much. I've built a rear end. That's been my biggest expense this year, the rear end.
I know sometimes we get some oddball car choices out there in Utah, regardless of the rules. What have you got for a car?
I'm taking a 97 Lincoln.
Fits right in.
Fits right in, and that's what I build in Utah. So.
Yes, I can let you know.
That's pretty much what I build here now. I've kind of, last 9 years, I've been building Lincolns and Vics, so I think I got a pretty good handle on them.
Did you give any consideration to leaving the trunk unwelded on your trip out and sticking aluminum in the back of it for the ride over, so that you had 2 cars to run in Topeka?
Yeah. You know, just mine's a steel trunk and that, so I'm going to weld it and go.
Yeah. It was more of a joke, but I appreciate your answer.
It's been fun, you know. Like I say, it's going to be different for me. Learning curve is going to be big for me. But like I say, if it turns out good, I want to go back out again.
I think you're going to be hooked no matter what happens. I mean, this.
I'm hooked in Derby anyways. I've been driving for 20 years now.
20 years is a long time to be doing anything, you know. It's the one thing that I'm interested in your response to is your reaction to pulling out of the tunnel and into the arena, because where you run in Utah with the Golden Spike and some of the big tracks that we've been to in Salt Lake, there's already a tunnel. The pits are already dark. So when you pull out and you come into the big lights, the crowd is packed and it's on top of you, just like it is in Topeka, only it's open air. And you can see the Rocky Mountains behind you. It's some of the most spectacular sights we've ever seen in Demolition Derby. Now, you're going to have a lid on the place, and it's going to be a hockey arena, but I'm interested to see how that compares and how big the butterflies get when you pull out on the track.
I think I'll have some big butterflies there just because of the competition there and where you're at. You've got some of the best builders in the country going to be there. You know,
Is this as much a barometer run as it is a fun run? And I hate to go there because Josh loves to use this term, the bucket list type thing. Sure, everybody wants the chance to pull into the arena in Topeka and be part of Capital City Carnage or Blizzard Bash. You have to do it one time, but at the same time, this serves a little bit of a barometer for you to see where you stack up.
Yeah, that's kind of how I'm looking at it. It's a bucket list thing. And, the other thing about it is I've wanted to go back east and drive more. That's kind of my bucket list of more things. And, I can't afford to always haul a car back east every time you want to drive, especially if you want to go like New York or Ohio or,
sure.
And I've if I can build a good car, I would like to do the trade the swap thing. Someone build me a car back east, I fly out and drive, and they come out to Utah, and I'll build them a car.
Yes. Whoever's listening needs to make that happen. That's you will not be disappointed. You'll have a lot to fix, but you will not be disappointed.
Yeah, and that's what I'm wanting to do. It is I don't want to just some random car out there to be built for me. I want to. If I build an A-quality car in Utah, I want an A-quality car in wherever I'm going.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Can you imagine Danny coming to run someplace like Morris?
Okay.
Wheel days? I mean, it would be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Danny would fit in pretty well out here, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What about the compact side of things? Are you messing around with those at all this year, or did you go back to big cars?
I'm back to big cars. We're doing the passenger heat at May Mania. Me and my brother and his wife and my wife, we're doing the passenger heat, the team. And the compact thing last year was just kind of throw together. I was going to be at the Derby anyways. They were looking for cars. I found a car for $100. Put 7 hours of time into it and went and derbied. And that made it fun. That was like one of the highlights of it because I didn't spend any time. I didn't care if I won. Didn't do anything. I just wanted to go crash a car because I was there. And
did you get 2 runs out of that car or just one?
Just one.
Just one. But it was fun to watch. That one run.
It was fun. And they hurt. The little cars hurt. I didn't think they would hurt as bad. That was my first time ever running a mini car,
And you didn't think they were going to hurt as bad?
No, I thought they were going to give a little bit more, but they just compact and they don't move.
You were telling me that. Brian's had that conversation as well, that the mini cars, they almost hurt more than the big cars.
They build up
that's kind of my big theory about driving trucks. I've been debating about building a truck, but man, that means just doing the back of the days of driving Imperials. Those cars didn't move, and you went head on with an Imperial, they hurt. You felt that the next day. Yeah,
those heavy builds. I mean, I like I said, I like watching them, but I don't want to bend the inside because if the car doesn't bend, then something's gotta, and it's going to be the soft, squishy part behind the steering wheel, and I'm not about that. I'd rather have the car give than me give, but that's how I feel.
Yeah, true that.
Yeah, we've definitely. I mean, with the compacts, they build up speed so much quicker. I mean, there's not as much horsepower to spin the tires. It's going right to it's going to moving, and then they come across an arena pretty quick, and
yeah, they do. And and like I did, I just put mine in reverse and used the trunk. You had all the room to smash it up. I just put it in reverse and go.
Yep. Yeah, I've definitely seen some pretty intense hits in compact, and I mean, again, they're fun to watch. But man, I drove one once, and I drove it like it was a '67 Imperial. I don't think I would have broke a taillight if it had been on there. It was just forward all night long, and I wasn't going to back that thing up, but it was fun.
I'd do one again if they needed it. It's just the timing had to be right, The compact heat filled up pretty quick at May Mania this year. I had a couple people wanting me to do it with them, but the passenger heat's where I'm having fun. Me and my wife get to go do that.
Yeah, that passenger heat, that's kind of crazy too, but it'll be fun to watch.
It's fun.
Definitely fun to watch. Chris, what's going on?
Everybody thinks it's the husband's just going to put the foot to the floor and the gas. You kind of get some strategy working out, you know.
Oh yeah, it's definitely different. I mean, that's there's, I had seen the passenger derbies before, but then like to do it where one person controls one thing and the other controls the other. That's pretty neat. I mean, to be successful, you really have to work well as a team.
Yeah, you do. And like I got to where my wife was having trouble steering, and I had just ended up putting the car where I wanted it. It was just forward and reverse.
That'll work.
That's Ben and Josh can relate.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yep.
Awesome. And I think it was going to be fun to run the team show with my brother, and he's been driving for almost 35, almost 40 years.
Wow, that's amazing.
Man. That's a long time. That's May Mania, right? That's what you're talking about?
Yeah, May Mania. We're both driving there.
Are you going to go to Wasatch as well?
I'm probably not going to be able to make that one. A lot of it depends on how Topeka turns out. My wife's kind of put the, you can't do too many derbies if we're going to Kansas.
Understandable.
And I'm thankful for it. But my nephew, he's shooting to go to, he'll be there at Wasatch. He's going to drive.
Awesome.
So most likely I'll be there. I don't know if I'll be there driving or pitting, and maybe they're in passenger heat if they're doing that again, So.
Stern Dirt's got a nice schedule coming together. I'm sure we'll bump into you out there, May Mania, and then some point past that, even if it's Halloween Havoc, we'll catch up with you out there. SternDirtRacing.com if you want the full schedule.
Yeah, we'll meet up with you guys.
Absolutely.
Danny, is there anybody that you want to make mention of? I know your awesome wife and your brother give you a ton of support. Your sister-in-law, they give you a ton of support in terms of making this thing happen. They're helping you get out there to Kansas and be part of that. Is there anybody else that you want to make mention of?
My family, Justin Broadhead at Dick's Broadhead Decals, he's done a lot for me, so, all my friends, they're there to support me. They've been great help, so that's who I'd like to thank,
Awesome.
So.
Well, man, I appreciate you coming on the show. We look forward to catching up with you in a couple of weeks when we all get out to Utah. We'll be looking forward to it, and we wish you the best of luck. Safe travels, man.
Yeah, thank you. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Thanks, Danny.
Bye.
There goes Danny Ogden. We're going to shift gears quick. I got a message that said Kurt was going to be available, so we're going to pull him up on the phone. I was juggling. We had a roof sign that a gentleman had ordered, and he was concerned about its whereabouts because he's had a number of neighbors who are also into Demolition Derby that see his larger packages show up with Demolition Derby parts, show up, and they're just left on his porch, and they take them. So his concern was that his roof sign had been stolen, and they were going to strip it and put their own decals on. But I was double checking my own.
Kind of like dickish.
It's theft, and it's also a pretty major problem because until the proper owner takes ownership of it, it's property of the U.S. Post Service.
Federal.
Yeah, it gets serious quick. You can catch them.
Not for nothing. You said Utah in a couple weeks. I think you met Capital City Carnage in a couple weeks in Topeka.
Yes, but before you know it, May Mania's going to be there too.
Oh, goodness.
So I've been able to confuse Capital City Carnage with Blizzard Bash and May Mania so far in less than an hour.
Yeah.
Doing good.
Good for you.
Doing good. First days are always smooth.
Absolutely. How was school today?
It was good today. Good. It was real good. It was
you look
good.
Relaxed.
I feel okay.
Good.
I feel we have 4 weeks, 3 days, and about 5 hours before spring break.
Sweet.
For what it's worth.
So
Chris, can I put you in?
2 weeks after Capital City Carnage.
Yep. Yeah, we got a conference day that I could get in a little bit of trouble for. But we're not going to talk about that. Kurt Brinkman is on the line. Kurt, man, appreciate you coming on the show. We are focused tonight talking about the mod classes and getting into Capital City Carnage. I know you've been busy today. I appreciate you making some time for us, man.
Yeah, no problem.
Congratulations on the win at WinterSLAM. Building from that to Capital City Carnage, the same question that we pitched to Eddie Chick a little bit earlier is, is momentum a real thing in Demolition Derby, and how important is it to go into Capital City Carnage having a little bit of confidence in your equipment and a little bit of a momentum on your side?
I'm hoping so. I am taking back the car that I ran at Blizzard Bash, and hopefully having some better luck than I had down there.
Well, that car wasn't hurt, and you've got the opportunity to now do a little bit more to it. Did you put any more plates or wire on the car to get it ready for the advertised Mod-Class at Capital City Carnage?
Yeah, we were allowed some plates, so we got one horn did bend a little bit, so we got that straightened out a little bit and getting some plates on it now, and hopefully it holds up good.
The time from Halloween until New Year's Day for you is pretty intense, between getting the car wrapped up and the travel that goes along with trying to participate in Blizzard Bash, and then getting the cars ready for WinterSLAM. WinterSLAM is still a weld class, and it's also a fresh cars only, so you have to get another car together. How tough is juggling the build schedule on top of running the business?
That was really crazy because my busy time is pretty much like September till first part of December, so I had to have a lot of faith in some buddies to help me get down to Kansas. And then the WinterSLAM car, that wasn't so bad. Brandon Johnson, he was helping me quite a bit. I have actually never ran a Ford, so I went out there not knowing what to expect with a Ford.
Did you learn anything? Did you like what you saw?
Yeah, I learned a lot during the build, and I wish maybe I would have drove it a little bit harder than I did, but it worked out. 35 cars out there. I figured you'd take it easy a little bit.
Well, I mean, it worked out. You had to withstand a hammer. Brett Nelson was earning every bit of Mad Dog, and you were, some people can criticize the drive all they want. I didn't see anything wrong with what was happening on track. You guys were battling it out. You were being strategic. You weren't putting yourself in a bad position. We've talked 1,000 times. Is you don't want to be the reason why you don't finish first place. And you were laying hard hits, but it's a product of going head-to-head with a car that's equally as hard. Some of the shots when you went nose-to-nose with Brett, you could see your body shudder. I mean, how hard were those hits when you were making those impacts at WinterSLAM?
They didn't feel crazy in the car, but, I mean, we want to do some bigger ones that Brett can build a heck of a car, and if we would have done any bigger ones, I don't think the outcome would have been the same. Right,
yeah, you had to stay close to them. Don't give them any room. Then you worked that backwards to Blizzard Bash, where all the hits looked like they just knocked the contacts out of your eyes.
Pretty much, yeah.
Now you're going to the Mod-Class. So where do we go from here? I mean, it only seems like it's going to get harder and more intense as we go.
Yeah, I like the way the rules are. I mean, you can build a car up pretty good, but I still think with as hard a hits that go on, I mean, there's still enough room there. They bend and the bodies aren't taking all the abuse, but definitely hard hitting, yeah.
Matched up against some of the names that had the most attention coming out of Blizzard Bash in the Mod-Class. What are your expectations? I mean, obviously everybody's going to go in there with saying, hey, I'm out there to win it. What are your expectations out there? Is it going to be something that's fast-paced because everybody's got the same cannon, or are you going to have the opportunity to hang back a little bit and take advantage of a congested track?
Depending on the cars. I know I've seen a couple of different drivers lists. One had like 8 or 9 on it, and I think the last one I saw was like 15.
Yeah.
If there's only that many cars, I think it's going to be real fast-paced. Everyone's going to have to hold on a little bit.
Well, I gotta say that's kind of what we're counting on.
Yeah,
I don't know if you want to hear that news or not, but that's kind of what we're hoping for.
We're fans of the hold on.
Right.
The travel to Topeka, and we ran this by Eddie as well. Did you ever imagine that you'd be at a point where you're making regular trips twice a year to Topeka to compete inside a hockey arena where all eyes are on the 2 biggest derbies of the year?
Never in my 15 years of Derby would I've ever thought that.
It's crazy how it's grown.
You had some bad luck at Blizzard Bash. You turn around and you pick up that win, and now you've got some confidence in it. Had the build with the Ford not gone the way that it did, would you still be making the trip to Topeka?
For Capital City, I don't know if I would.
Yeah. See, that's interesting. It's weird how that little bit of confidence can change the landscape of everything. 90% of the game's half mental.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Or 3/4. One of the.
He just got it.
Yeah, it's and that's the thing. I mean, as a driver from a driver standpoint, I mean, a lot of us have been there where you don't have good luck and things going to go against you, and you're just like, what am I doing? Then to have something good happen, it definitely changed your outlook. And I mean, it's like that with any motorsport. I mean, when a driver is feeling good about themselves, obviously it improves the on track performance. It improves what you're doing to get ready for the on track performance. And it's winning a big show like Kurt did. I mean, it's it definitely I'm sure has helped to get them more pumped up for going back to Topeka.
And in terms of Topeka, as we said earlier, there's a couple names that look like they're missing from the list at this point with people that are planning on being a late entry. It's nothing against those guys. They just haven't got their entries in for whatever reason. It looks like we're going to pick up Daniel Ort and pick up Tommy Stark, which is going to add two more hammers to a field full of hammers. So it's going to be
very, very good drivers list.
Yeah, it's fun. We sort of ran this by Danny Ogden too. Is after you come off a win like what you picked up in a new car at WinterSLAM, you turn around and take a car that was fraught with some gremlins. Does this now give you a little bit more of does this serve as a barometer run? Does this kind of give you a better perspective of where you're at in terms of the heavy build stuff? Because, I mean, you're perfectly capable. You're a good driver. You've had success before. But at the same time, you're out there with some of the names that had the most attention on them coming out of Blizzard Bash. And now you're back out there with them again. Is this a barometer run?
Yeah, for the most part. Big names really kind of gets your nerves rattled a little bit, but
it's fun to go out and compete against them.
But at the same time, I mean, Kurt's got a reputation. There's other people sitting home and saying, well, I'm going out there against big names and including him in the same list as he's including everybody else in.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, that's the way you look at it. I mean, it's, when you go to some place like Topeka, pretty much that's the best of the best. I mean, these guys are, pretty much all the best at where they come from. But now they're going against the best of, the next area and the best of the next state. And that's what's so cool about these big shows, and I've said it 100 times, is I would love to see more guys from the East Coast go out and run, the East go out and run these shows in the Midwest. I'd like to see the guys from the Midwest come back and run, like Blizzard or Bash for Cash. That's really what I'm hoping starts happening in Derby. And I mean, I know there's a lot of traveling and it's not cheap, but I mean I just think that would really help the sport grow that much more to get guys from the best guys from Ohio against the best guys from Minnesota and the best guys from Iowa and the best guys from Kansas. And that's kind of what we're all hoping for, and there's a lot of that in Topeka when you go out there and run. I wish it would guys would come back this way some. That would be cool.
You ever give any consider to coming to the east side of the country? Come and try Utah, Pennsylvania, New York, Virginia,
The other way.
or Ohio. Sorry.
I'd be interested. Depending on that's a heck of a drive.
Absolutely.
To get from like from Bando's place or from Darren Brown's place to here, I think it was like 16 hours.
It's
a lot of drive time.
Yeah, so it's a long time to tow a car.
Bando's towed to Ohio before.
Mm-hmm.
You got sent home with an appearance.
Yeah, you got to go home with it too. It was not the best.
No,
not the best.
It was a good weekend.
Don't follow his model for that. But now that they're allowing the old iron in both of the classes at Bash for Cash, I think that some of those guys might be more inclined to come and try to make the tow. I think it'd be. I'm really looking forward to Bash for Cash in terms of having those two worlds combined in both turn back the clock and the kicker class. That's going to be a lot of fun to see.
Yeah, definitely. But Capital City Carnage is going to be huge first. It's interesting to see how everything comes together out there. There's a lot of names in the limited world that weren't there last year, so that's going to be interesting. The mod class has got a lot of great drivers, great builders. All the classes, I mean, you read down through and it's, you've heard of a lot of the guys and girls in every class. So looking forward to it. 2 weeks away. Derby season is definitely, we're about to be a month deep into Derby season, and it's only March. So it's pretty cool. We're definitely making some leaps and some bounds. It's a good time.
Do you travel much to watch, or if you're going to a Derby, you're bringing a car?
Usually, if I'm going to a Derby, I probably just bring a car.
Yeah.
Like before Blizzard Bash, and I've never been down there, never even known what it was about. I just watched it on live or whatever on the TV, and me and a buddy said that we wanted to go there, and the last couple of years we've been trying, and it's just hard to get in, or you got to know someone to be on a team. And last year I was lucky enough that a spot opened up on the qualifying team.
Something that you're going to do again next year?
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome.
Didn't even think about it. I like that answer.
Absolutely.
Everyone that I've talked to said once you get in, just keep going back, even if you have crappy luck, because it's hard to try and get back in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, once you're on the inside, don't ever let it go.
And I think also as you keep going back, I think the more you go, the more you learn, and it makes you better. even if you don't have the success that you want there, if you can build that style car when you go home, you're going to learn so much more. Mm-hmm. By running against the best and seeing how the best do it, and it's definitely. We've talked a million times about that's how you improve, is you run against the best and you see how the best do it.
There's no easy road in Topeka, and the Mod-Class certainly isn't going to be one of the easy ones. Kurt Brinkman is going to be in action in that. After that, before we get to Blizzard Bash in between there, what are you going to be doing in terms of your home season, Kurt?
I got a couple pre-ran things that I can build for around some county fairs here around home. The WinterSLAM car should be hopefully easy enough fix. Like I said, I worked on a lot of Fords, so hopefully I can have a couple for around here.
That'll be awesome. We're getting right to the top of our time here. Is there anything that we missed that we wanted to hit on as you get ready to go to Topeka?
No. Hopefully we see you all down there, and hopefully it's a good show.
We're counting on that. Before we do let you go, though, I know there's a lot of people that help get that car together. You talked about relying on some buddies to get your Blizzard Bash car together. Anybody that you wanted to make mention of here before we part ways for the night?
Definitely the wife. She puts up with a lot. Doesn't always like me down in the shop, but understands that if you want to run some big shows, you gotta actually work on them.
True.
Brandon Johnson, he helped me a lot with both cars, my Blizzard Bash one and my WinterSLAM one. Nick Richardson, he did a lot on my Blizzard Bash one. He got fourth in WinterSLAM. There's anyone and everyone that's been in the shop, I guess.
Well, we wish you the best of luck finishing the cars up. Safe travels getting to Topeka, and we'll catch up with you down there, sir.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks, Kurt. We'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
There goes Kurt Brinkman. I'm glad he got free.
Yeah. Good to talk to him.
Cool dude. So, before we get out of here, we got to fix this.
Uh-oh.
I'm pretty sure that last Thursday on the 31st lap, I put up the bumper that said 31st lap on it right there. Started a phone interview. Went through the whole interview. Hung up the phone and never put the dude's name up. I don't think I ever put his name up on. We had Chad Trout on with a sprint car, 410 guy from down in Pennsylvania. He runs Lincoln and Williams Grove, which is some pretty deep water for 410s, on a weekly basis. And I still don't think that I put his name up, but he had fun. It was cool.
You can go back and watch your show and check it out.
Because I don't want to be right. If I never looked, then it was up all the time. One more thing I wanted to hit on. Oh, this weekend, any demolition derby cars that are in various states of disrepair, you are welcome to come be part of the Hall of Wreckers at Finger Lake Speed World at Finger Lakes Mall. Setup is Friday after 6. Bad Boys Buggy will be available from Bass Pro to help tow you into position. We've got an entire room to ourselves. It's the same room where the RC Derby is going to be. It's the same room where they're going to have the Power Wheels races. Not Derby yet. We're still working on them. We'll warm them up to that. But the Hall of Wreckers is going to be something that is dedicated to this huge motorsports show, where motorsports in all walks and iteration take over the Finger Lakes Mall, which is where our local Bass Pro is. We've got a big camper store that's in that, and then there's a bunch of other storefronts that are available periodically, and they fill them full of race cars. There's snowmobiles, there's dirt bikes, there's asphalt modifieds, dirt modifieds. Weedsport Speedway is going to be part of it. Lando Legends Raceway, which used to be Canandaigua Motorsports Park, is going to be center court. Patriot Sprint Tour is going to be there. There's a bunch of 360s, a couple 305s, dirt sportsman cars. Pat Ward's 86 show car is going to be there, which won a couple races. And one of Jim Champagne's original cars is going to be there. The original offset super modified that he built in like 75 and was still raced up until like 1991, which is kind of cool. Mike McLaughlin drove that car. Jim Champagne drove that car. One of the Joyas drove that car. But on top of all that history, elimination and combative motorsports cars are welcome. Zach Herman's brought cars up there. David Stone. We've had Josh Decker's cars up there. James Brown's had stuff. Mike Osterhout's had stuff. We got one of the two-man extreme cars coming. We've got confirmation that's happening. There's more room. Also, there's no cost to vend, or excuse me, not vend. No cost to set up. All you have to do is just show up that night. Shoot me a message that you're coming. I'll take care of everything in terms of the show side of it. All you got to do is get there Friday night, March the 2nd. The car will be on display Saturday and Sunday, and you can pick the car up Sunday after 6. And bring it back home and get it ready for the Derby season. So if it's a fresh car, if it's a pre-run car, if it's a car that's just got the glass knocked out of it, if it's a car that's completely turned inside out, one way, shape, or form, we'd love to have a whole bunch of Demolition Derby cars because it drew a ton of attention last year. It was great for the sport. And Ed Brewster's going to be up here. And I think Jason Sauer's talking about making the trip up as well. So it's going to be neat. Be a chance to rub elbows a little bit, hobnob, talk some derby, use some bench racing. And yeah, we'll be up there. We'll be live with Crash Course one of the days. 31st lap will be live. The final round will be live up there. Western New York Super Rod Association is going to be there. Gas Racing Series is bringing 5 or 6 cars, a bunch of drag racing cars. So it's going to be cool. I mean, it's a chance for Demolition Derby cars to be right in the center of all of the circle track stuff. It'll be neat. Love to see a couple guys bring the cars out. Shoot me a message if you got any questions on it. What do you think? You covered it all?
Fork in it. We're done.
We're good. This is going to do it for episode number 218 of the Crash Course here from the North Park building here at Academy Square. We appreciate everybody tuning in. We're going to be back here next week with more talk about Capital City Carnage. And basically that will be the 2-week mark on Monday. 2 weeks from then, we will already be back from Capital City Carnage.
Hard to believe.
Hard to get your head around. We're going to see everybody again next week. Thanks for watching.
Crash Course Live is presented by Smash It Demolition Derby, who host Bash for Cash, Blizzard Bash, and Capital City Carnage. Online at smashitderby.com. And Stirring Dirt Racing, hosts of May Mania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah. Online at stirringdirtracing.com. Reckless Abandoned Derby Apparel, and Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York.